Here we go. We are started. Hey, Robin.
Hi, Senna. We're finally through the book.
We are. We did it. We made it. We did it, and we didn't hurt ourselves or other people. I'm assuming. I mean, I didn't. I don't know about you.
I didn't hurt anyone, but I was threatening you for quite a while there.
Yeah, I know. I don't appreciate your threats, Robin.
Why? Because they're
Especially
more
when I.
creative than yours?
Huh?
Why? Because they're more creative than yours?
Well, also, you're totally not going to follow through, so it's really just a waste of both of our time.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I
was a
don't know.
challenge. I
We're supposed
threw
to see each
down.
other in May, so you
Alright,
never
well,
know.
you guys heard that. This is recorded on the internet. If I don't come back from hanging out with Robin in May, you will know that she killed me. And it'll be mostly Becca Fitzpatrick's fault. I mean, I feel like we can direct like 85% of the fault to Fitzpatrick. Maybe like divvy up the rest between you guys and me for deciding to read this. And then, Robin gets a significant portion for actually killing me. Anyway, so you finished this like
The day of
10,
our last podcast.
I don't know, like 10 minutes after we finished. You guys, we were like, we got off the podcast, we were hanging out, we were playing games online, and every couple minutes Robin would be like, oh my god, it's getting worse. Like, god damn it, Robin. We are trying to hang out here, and you're reading the book and like spoiling it while we play games. Like, really?
You have no idea what I was talking about, other
No.
than I did not like what I was reading.
I mean, that's true, but I too was disappointed with the lack of bear soul, with the lack of either bear. Our ending was way more creative. I feel like there were way more like if I saw our ending on the cover of the book, I totally would have read that shit. But no. We just had one long drawn out dumbass chase scene. But anyway, before I go off on a tangent, and trust me, there will be many. Robin, what did you think?
It sucked.
Oh, Robin.
It sucked like a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, there you go. It's creative. Keep going.
I really did not like it.
Hmm.
It might be up there with City of Bones.
Is this gonna turn into your trigger book? Like we're gonna say Becca Fitzpatrick, and you're gonna be like, "Did you know that excuse me, that that book was awful?"
It might be. There's the potential. But it was a bad book.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. I mean, I feel like we totally went into this expecting a Stockholm romance, and I can't really be upset that we got what we expected, but I'm still kind of upset. Like she totally did it, totally pulled that trigger. Um, but I guess so. Let's try and start somewhat chronologically. Did you have any issues closer to the start of our last chunk of pages?
I got so irritated with this last section that I actually sat down, took post-it notes, and wrote down the comments to the characters
Yay, we finally got
and
Robin into making notes. Continue.
put them on the pages that they were on. And on the very first page, on page 301, it
Everybody
starts
turn to
off with
page 301 in your textbook.
it goes, Calvin's arm shot up and deflect the blow Jude swung at him. But if everyone assumes that Calvin is innocent at this point, we learn later that that's not the case. But if we were, why would Jude throw a punch first thing? Why not try to talk this all out?
Right, if
And
Jude
to me, it just seemed completely illogical for someone to just kind of throw a punch at you without knowing anything about that person. So,
right, because if Jude is theoretically the one who did it and doesn't want to get captured, then I mean, I guess you could say he was starting shit so that he wasn't taken captive, but yeah, it is kind of like, it is more in line with the story that Jude told Britt as opposed to what she thinks for, quite a while after we start reading this last chunk. Like, she doesn't believe him until Calvin straight up, like, knocks. What does he do? Until she finds all of that evidence. Yeah. It takes her finding the flyers, and then she puts together all the stuff that we put together in like the first 100 pages, and then she's like, oh, Calvin is totally the killer.
And then she tries to rationalize it. Well, maybe he's not the killer. Maybe he just took this down so that way if he saw the girl, he'd know it was her. Maybe
Yeah,
he just...
totally. That seems legit. Yeah, I mean, he has some really, like, I mean, just seeing all the different places where the girls died marked on his personal map, like, that's ringing all of the alarm bells. like that in itself is enough to make me be like, you know what? Why is this on here? I know this belongs to you.
There was one thing that threw me off on that one. Now, the 3X's, as far as I know, they were 3 different places. They were not in the cabin that they originally met in, if I'm right. And if that's the case, then there were actually 4 bodies, but they only mentioned 3 girls.
No, one of them was the cabin.
Was the cabin included?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because there was the hunting shack where that one girl was found when they thought her boyfriend killed her. And then there was another one, I believe. But they were all, like, locations that the girls were murdered in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all they
I was thinking there was 3 different little hunting cabins, and then they had the 4th one where Mason and Britt met.
No, I'm pretty sure that one was on his map. Maybe.
Okay. It's been a while.
I don't know. It has been a while, and I kind of don't care. So, yeah.
I just thought it might be an inconsistency in that area.
Yeah, that's possible. But I'm not going to look it up. So, it's funny, because I marked something on page 303. And...
I marked something on 302.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yours is before mine. Go ahead.
You shot him, I stammered, my mind still reeling. Him being Ace, short for Mason. Got it. Mason, the guy who abducted you and who now has my map. I take it he's not really your boyfriend, he commented dryly. If we don't do something, he's going to bleed to death. Quiet, or you'll wake Corby. My first thought was, yeah, because a gunshot's just totally not going to wake Corby
right.
up. That was basically my entire comment there.
Right, and like, why didn't she wake up? It took her forever to wake up and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, God, we were projecting like so many things on Corby. We're like, oh, maybe she's a co-serial killer. Maybe they're gonna kill her. Maybe she's gonna kill somebody else. Like, no, she doesn't. She does absolutely fucking nothing. She was completely
She sleeps
useless.
through everything.
Yeah, I mean, she is like, her only role was to have an excuse for Britt to go up to the cabin by herself. Like, that was the only reason Corby existed. So way to really work in that secondary character, Fitzpatrick. That was A+. Let me see. What is it? I marked page 303, and I'm not sure why. Oh, I think it was Britt's inner monologue where at this point she still thinks Jude is the killer. She's like, I tried to sway myself to Calvin's line of thinking. Jude deserved this. Which, by the way, like, bookmark that in your brain for later. Jude deserved this. But my heart kept holding me back. What if he did die? He didn't deserve that. The idea of him gone forever slashed me to pieces. So, like, she thinks this guy has killed 3 women. But she's like, oh, but the idea of him being gone, it slashes me to pieces because my, like, interpersonal relationship with this guy is more important than the fact that he murdered 3 women, which shows up again when she discovers that Calvin is actually the one who killed her, who killed those girls, and I've totally got that shit bookmarked too, but that's not like 10 pages from now, so, you know, you can wait.
Mm.
But,
She
yeah.
can't decide what she's feeling. And it's not like her relationship with either of them have been really intense lately or anything.
Well, no, because it's like, it's just the way that the lives of the girls who died is so devalued in comparison to her relationship with these men. Um, I mean, it is like pages ahead, but there's that part where they take Calvin down so fucking easily, by the way. Like, he gets hit in the nose and he just gives up, which I guess is like, oh, he's like a rich, like, misogynist who can't stand being beaten up by men. Like, he's a wuss is what they're trying to get at. Like, he can dish it, but he can't take it. But he just gives up, and then he's like, where is it? He talks shit about all of the stuff he did to Jude's sister, and then Jude loses his shit. You broke my nose, Calvin swore viciously, and Jude says a bunch of badass stuff about him wanting to break the other bones in his body. What the fuck ever. Anyway, um, he shook his head, his eyes empty and unfocused. You're not the first person to tell me that. That being, you don't deserve to talk. You're a worthless bastard who never deserved to live. So we start playing the, like, my daddy never loved me card here. You're not the first person to tell me that. How did you find the girls? Jude asked harshly. You must have researched them somehow. Then they explain, and he's like, my dad will kill me, Calvin said, speaking in a cloud of disbelief. I can't believe the old man won. Calvin tipped his head towards the black dome of sky overhead. His expression shifted from disbelief to understanding. A shadow of defeat crossed his face. A helpless, gloomy, almost boyish look. He put his wrists together, extending them towards Jude. Go ahead, tie me up. His voice cracked and he started crying. Better show my dad I can take punishments like a man now. At that moment, and this is Brit, by the way, at that moment I felt my heart break. I wanted to wrap my arms around Calvin and tell him it was going to be all right.
Yeah, well,
this guy just spent the last 20 pages trying to fucking kill you. Trying to kill you. He killed like 4 other girls because he is explicitly a murderous misogynist who is angry that they got into college when he couldn't. And this is her reaction. I wanted to hug him, the poor little boy.
All the characters show a complete lack of judgment on here. There's a point where Calvin's tying up Jude, and she goes and gets the rope, and they wait for Jude to wake up. She does not go downstairs and call the cops until much later. Well, she tries to call the cops, but she can't. But she doesn't make the attempt earlier, when he's injured and everything else like that. She waits until he's awake, and then she goes, oh, this is getting real. I better go downstairs and try to call the cops. And, of course, she finds out the cops are not going to be able to come because the wire's been...
Right.
Because the phone's been disconnected. But she doesn't make that attempt until after he woke up, and they've been waiting for over a half an hour for him to wake up.
Right. Yeah, their actions during this whole sequence is just like straight up absurd. There's some stuff after, but like the part where Corby finally does wake up, and she helps Calvin tie Brit up because she's a completely useless friend, which is like it's like the only thing she does in the entire book is be a terrible friend.
Yeah, Soul the Dragon is right. She could have been replaced with a rock that had lipstick on it.
No, because the rock with lipstick would not have been able to like betray her best friend. It's ridiculous. But Did you have anything? My next bookmark is on page 349, so
My next one is 323, and I think this is going to be one of your triggers.
probably. This whole book is my rage trigger.
Okay, so Calvin says earlier than this, you're not in love with him. He took advantage. He's older than you. It's not your fault. And then he comes downstairs around 323 and goes, "Did you kiss him? Are you still a virgin? You
Yeah.
stupid bitch. How could you do that?" So you're naive. He took advantage, but if sex happened, that is completely your fault.
Well, see, this is the part where Calvin starts showing his true colors, and it is very like it's textbook misogyny, and I kind of have a problem with this. Like, obviously, Calvin is a dick. Like, his motivation for killing these women is explicitly misogyny. Like, they say that 2 or 3 times, just in case we didn't get it the first time. Um, like she says, his dad raised him to believe that girls shouldn't do things better than you, and all of these girls that you killed got into better schools. He goes on a rage about how Lauren was like a stupid slut or whatever, and she got into the school that he was trying to get into, all that stuff. And I mean, that, yes, that is all absolutely terrible misogyny. Plenty of guys think that way, yes. The problem is that it's like this like straw man kind of thing where they build up Calvin's misogyny so that they can point to him and be like, that's actual misogyny. Like, that is what real misogyny is. When you could, if you could just as easily look at the things that Jude has done, which we've talked about, like the way he is very dismissive and condescending towards Britt. That's supposed to be like romantic. The way he like jumped her and pressed her into the bed and stuff, like all of these really creepy, skeevy things, and that's like the hero. So you have like
Mm-hmm.
this dichotomy of like, well, that's not misogyny, this is misogyny. It's like, no, no, they are both misogyny. But like people are much more willing to recognize the misogyny of a guy who literally kills women as opposed to like that of the love interest. And that's the biggest problem that I have with Calvin's motivation is not because I don't believe that there are people who think this way, like I absolutely do, but just the fact that like if you look at Calvin's like attempted semi-rape scene where he keeps pressuring Britt, and then you look at Jude's where he physically pins her down, but because he feels bad about it, he gets off her and starts crying. He's okay, and Calvin is not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's that misogyny that allows that whole idea of playing the victim as well in
Yeah,
that area.
yeah. There's a part, and it kind of ties into like what we were talking about as far as Britt being much more empathetic towards the guys, even when she thinks slash knows that they're murderers. There's this one part where Jude is being really sad, such man pain because his sister died and he couldn't save her, or whatever. So Britt says this: "She's forgiven you, Jude. You have to believe that. She chose to go drinking. She chose to leave with Sean. What happened to her after that is inexcusable and horrific. And I'm not saying she deserved to be killed because she totally didn't. No one deserves that. But at some point, she had to stop relying on you to save her and learn to save herself." So Britt breaks down crying and wants to cuddle the lady killer when he's like, "Oh, my dad's gonna be so mad at me." But oh no, this girl chose to go out clubbing. She chose to go home with a skeevy guy. No, 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 don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she deserved to be killed, but she did go home with a guy she barely knew. Am I right? It's not your fault, brother. So don't feel bad. It's just like her empathy for these girls is so fucking limited. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I was kind of upset about that. Cough.
I have a note here for 327. I'm trying to figure out what it was. All mine says is that Sean must have been gone a long time.
Yep, this is what it's gonna be like, guys. This is what look, this ending was so bad. We went page by page. This is what you guys signed up for. And yes, I agree, Soul. It's not misogyny when the hero does it. That's when it's sexy, which is exactly the fucking dichotomy that these books try and set up. And that's why even like the 15 times that Becca Fitzpatrick insists that like this is a good thing for Brit because she's learning to rely on herself, it's 100% bullshit because all of her fucking actions are motivated by the men.
I forgot topics to go with that too when we get there to prove that she's not going by herself on here. Okay, that's right. So they're talking about Sean went downstairs to take pictures, and he came in at that time, and he started, strangling the sister.
Right.
Well, Sean must have been gone a long time because it takes a really long time to strangle someone. It's not quick like it says in the movies, so he was gone a long time to get whatever he was wanting to get out of the tool shed.
Yeah, it's really weird that, like, the Sean connection was just a total coincidence. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm a little sick this week, so Stuff Nose might need to blow it. I apologize if it's gross. There's not a whole lot I can do. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So, like you said, it's just kind of convenient that he was gone that long. That also means Calvin was either very confident that he would be gone that long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he knocked him out or not, even though he doesn't mention it in here.
He does not.
Or it was already planned out. It's hard to say for certain on that. But yeah, he was gone a long time if Calvin was able to strangle her in the time he was gone.
Yeah, it's really weird that Calvin was not in league with Sean. That it was just total happenstance. Yeah, it's such like just like more contrivances to support like the red herring of Sean being the murderer. Also, I liked that it actually turned out that Sean was not raping these girls. He was legitimately he was taking pictures of them and then blackmailing them with that. Like that thing that Lauren thought that we were like, why would that be your first thought? Like that would not be anybody's first thought. That was actually what he was going to do because okay, sure, whatever you say, Fitzpatrick. That's maybe it's like her euphemism for rape because she doesn't want to actually deal with it. She's like, oh no, he just took pictures of him. That's all he did. It's fine.
Yeah, and then Calvin comes up with the idea of throwing Brit outside in the cold to try to get Jude to talk. Which I'm not sure how effective that would have been because he doesn't know what kind of relationship those two have, so I'm not quite sure about that, but it would definitely kill her. And as soon as she is thrown out, my first thought was figure out how Jude got in. And instead, her thought is, oh God, I'm going to die. And I'm just going to let it happen because I can't build a fire.
Yeah, that wasn't my first thought. But when she finally, like, after she did all that stuff that's supposed to be like showing her reliance on herself, damn it. And then she was like, oh, I should find how Jude got in. It's like, yes, you should have done that in the first fucking place. This entire fire building detour was completely unnecessary. You idiot.
Yeah. And then she just leaves the fire burning from what I could tell.
Yeah, I don't really understand how, because the way she was describing it, like, she had no feeling in her fingers. She was running around in the snow with no shoes on, like in her socks. How the fuck did she not lose, like, all of her fucking extremities? Like, she apparently is just fine 10 seconds in front of the fire. and she goes into the house, and it's totally cool. But like, she was very close to death the way that she was describing it. But just a quick sitter in front of the fire, and her health went right back up.
Well, yeah, she's got that hero power of being a main character.
Right. It's her main character immunity. It's like her a video game where her health gauge was instantly fixed.
Bonus points! Back to first life.
Yeah, it makes no sense. That I laughed when she found that window. Like you totally could have just immediately gone back in the house. And you did not.
Yeah. So my next one is at 351. I think you said you had something at 340?
349. Oh, yeah. So she breaks Jude out of the bed where he's been fucked up really bad. And it's like to the point where she's talking about like using the bed sheet as a sled and physically dragging him through the snow because she doesn't like she is convinced that he can't stand up by himself. And she has to help him down the stairs. She has to do all of this stuff because he's just completely helpless. And then they get to like the woods and he's totally fine.
Yeah, he's able to walk.
Right. He's able to walk. He's able to have a fist fight with Craig or Calvin or whatever the fuck his name is. He's able to hold her. They're able to run. But I actually got ahead of myself. It's the part where she says, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I was wrong. I made a huge mistake not believing your kidnapper. Yeah, okay. I believe you now. I trust you. And he says, "You're sure I can't talk you into running to that cabin?" Because at this point, her plan was to drag him outside and to get away from Calvin, which seems like a reasonable plan. I mean, granted, Calvin is just one guy, but they're both pretty fucked up, and he has a gun. So their plan is to just run for another cabin. Anyway. So he's like, "Are you sure I can't convince you to leave me behind so I can sacrifice myself nobly, so that you can get away?"
There's another one where he goes, and that was my 351. I'm going to disarm him. And I'm like, you can't walk, you keep passing out, but somehow you're going to disarm him.
Right? You're right. Seriously. And he went, like, he goes from, I have to drag you down the stairs in, like, by holding you on my back. Like I can't even like shoulder you with my arm around you the way you normally see people help people around. No. She grabs his arms and hauls him over her back down the stairs because he just cannot do it. And then like 10 pages later, he's like, "Give me the gun. I'm not running. I'm bringing him to justice." It's like, dude, she just had to help you down the stairs, and now you all gung ho about killing this guy. But anyway, sorry, 349. He's trying to convince her to leave, and she goes, "I shook my head no, short of breath myself. His kiss had worked like a shot of adrenaline. If I was scared, it was outweighed by a reason to live, and that reason was looking me straight in the eyes." Yeah.
So your life means nothing if he's
there. Right.
Not
you have no reason to live except for this dude who kidnapped you, who you met 4 days ago and are in love with. He is your reason to live. So yes, this is totally a book about female empowerment. Female empowerment all over the fucking place.
The power of boners is stronger.
Right? She kissed him, and then he got a hard on, and then, his health went into overdrive. He's like, "I'm fine, I can handle this." But yeah, I had it bookmarked on 351 too, where what I was talking about, where they were just like, "No, let's go to the cabin," and he's like, "He killed my sister. I'm not running. I'm bringing him to justice. Give me the gun." And she She, who is reasonably fine, like, aside from hypothermia and all that shit that she apparently recovered from, she gives him the gun. Even though his face is fucked up, he probably can't see that well, he can't walk, or he couldn't walk 10 minutes ago, but because he's the dude, here, you take the gun. Your sister is yours to avenge. I mean, it's not like Calvin was trying to kill me or anything. Jude, promise me something. Promise me you won't kill him. His eyes cut sharply to mine. I've spent the last year driven by the idea of killing him. Yeah.
But he doesn't deserve to die. I
No.
wasn't in love with him anymore, but I'd known him my whole life. I've seen the good and the bad. She's not in love with him.
No.
She wanted to go to the Teton Mountains to see him back, but she's not in love with him.
Well, I mean, to be fair, finding out that the dude you were in love with is a killer, like, I feel like that's pretty, Besides, she's found a new guy to be in love with, and you can't, like, be in love with two people at the same time. One overwrites the other, Robin. It's math.
Really? I didn't think 1 + 1 equaled 2. I thought it equaled in infinity.
Yep, that's how that works. But yeah, she's like, he doesn't deserve to die. He killed 3 girls, including your sister, and he was going to kill me, but he totally doesn't deserve to die. He's really just a small child inside. Like, okay, then who does deserve to die in your opinion, Britt? Aside from, like, girls who go home with strangers, apparently. Yeah, the dialogue in this last chunk is so bad. It gets so, like, generic action movie. Like, I need justice. I'm going to justice his life out of him. Whatever. It's terrible. Anyway, let's see.
The next one's at 371, so if you've got anything before then.
I do. I had that one about how Lauren was terrible because she decided to go home with a guy she didn't know. Yada yada yada. I have one at 356, but that is Calvin, that whole thing where Calvin breaks down and she feels bad about it. Oh, so they take him inside. Oh wait, no. There's something on 359. Oh, this line. He said, I guess this proves I was never good enough. Not good enough to be the guy you wanted. Not good enough for Stanford. Not even good enough to get away with murder. Because, God, that's super easy. He laughed, a choked, forlorn sound. Too bad I wasn't born a girl. Corby's been getting away with murder her whole life. Oh my God, could you have written anything more on the nose? Could ya? I don't think so. Corby has been getting away with murder her whole life, and I was kind of hoping that that would be, like, literally true. It's not. He's just, too bad I wasn't born a girl. You shithead. You shithead. And also, wow, that writing. That's just, like, I hate everything. This is awful. Anyway, so they take him inside and they tie him up, and then they leave to go find the evidence or whatever. And she doesn't describe exactly how they tie him up, but I feel like Jude especially would not leave him able to escape, because A, he doesn't want him to escape, and, like, but somehow he's able to get out of the ropes and hang himself. Just seems super contrived. Like, the way Jude's been talking, he would not have left him with the ability to escape his bonds and then kill himself. It's terrible. Let's see. 365. Will I see you again? He pulled me to him. He ground a rough kiss to my mouth, making it last. I knew right away that it was a goodbye kiss. I was losing Jude. I didn't want to let him go. This wasn't Stockholm Syndrome. I had fallen in love with him. Thanks for telling us, because you've shown that not at all. I mean, it's not Stockholm Syndrome because Becca Fitzpatrick says so, is basically the theme song of this book. It's not because I say so. Regardless of what I write or how I portray it, it's just not. So yeah, that's basically it. Like, aside from a few thoughts about the end of the book, but so if you want to go to yours.
She gets home. She's trying to run off her memories. Jude finds her.
Uh-huh.
Stalk her much? He likes doing that. He follows
Right.
her around.
Yep.
But yeah, he definitely has that stalker syndrome in him.
Right. He did, and then he kept. Does he say it? Oh no, it's afterwards where he talks about how he kept a cap that she had, and he, like, I don't know, probably whacked off in it a couple of times a week. He just talks about how he, like, shit was hers, so he couldn't bear to get rid of it. Like,
Even though technically it was his sister's.
and she broke off this relationship with them, or he broke off this relationship without, like, I don't know, without the intent of pursuing it anymore. But he's gonna be a creepy fucker who keeps something that she had.
Which was actually his sister's, so.
Right, because it was the cap that Calvin gave her that was at. Yeah, that's all kinds of gross. That's at least partially incest wanking, right? Like, that's pretty close.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending. And then, of course, she's got the whole, I want to see him, I want to see him, I want to see him. What did you do? No, 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 get out of here. Oh,
Yeah.
shit, he found me.
So she goes to school in California. They don't directly say that it's because that's where Jude lives, but I feel like the implication is pretty strong. Like, her relationship with her kidnapper is driving her life now to the point that this is determined where she's going to go to school. And I did like that she has actual friends, which I guess is kind of the point, because in the end, Corby abandons her. Because
That's the impression I got.
yeah, because she aired their secrets, and I guess the whole thing is that Corby was never really her friend, or whatever. And then in the end, she has actual friends who bend over backwards to talk about how they would walk over fire for her because they're besties. Like, it's a little over the top, but okay, yeah, I get it. She has girlfriends. Congratulations.
Yeah, as often as they were knocking people out in this book, I am surprised all of them survived, because knocking someone out means brain damage, no matter what or how hard you hit them, and any kind of brain damage can cause you to die. And he knocked out Jude a couple of times, and he knocked Corby out. So I was half expecting them to say Corby died of her injuries.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting that too, just because, do something with her. That would have been awful, but what they did is like, why was she there? Why did she exist? It's kind of a waste. And yeah, I agree, Soul. The suicide attempt was really confusing. Like, aside from him somehow escaping his bonds, he also managed to hang himself in long enough to cause brain damage while they went outside, looked under a thing, looked at each other, realized what was happening, and ran back inside. So, either he, like, was really handy, like making a noose, or this is bad writing. I'm gonna go with the latter. Um, and yeah, and then so Britt, Mason has the chance to face up to everything that he's done, which, let's not forget, he literally kidnapped her. Like, maybe he didn't want to, but he went along with it. He kidnapped her. He fell into his life of crime to, pursue his vengeance, whatever. but because his intentions were noble or whatever, they talk about how Mason is dead. The character that he played while he was on his quest for revengeance uh, was dead, and that therefore he does not have to be accountable for anything that he's done. Nope.
Yeah. It would have, I think, been better if he'd gone, okay, well, this is what I did. He confessed to the police, and the police were like, well, since it was all for a noble cause, and you didn't actually hurt anyone, we'll put you on probation or we'll put you in jail for a year, and then they'd be released. Because at this point, what could happen is that they start dating regularly, and they decide to get married, and Corby finds out about the marriage, and she sees a picture of him and goes, oh, shit, that's him.
Yeah, but that would ruin the fairy tale ending where they meet each other on a beach. If he actually had to face reality and take responsibility for his actions, that would totally kill my boner, Robin. Why are you even suggesting this?
Powers of boner is stronger, huh?
Yep. The boner is stronger than reality. So yeah. He just leaves. He runs away. Britt covers for him. He doesn't have to take accountability for or face anything that he's done. And then she goes to school in California, and for her summer she rents a cabin in the town that she remembers that he lives in. All of her friends go up there with her, and she finds him on the beach. And she's like, he looked like a new man. His eyes weren't angry, and he didn't he looks like a different person. So obviously all of those terrible things that he did, like, this is a different guy, which is like, but you're still in love with him. So it's not really a different guy. It's still the same guy. You're just trying to act like he no longer has like that capacity for violence because he's sated his revenge or whatever. It's just more like trying really hard to make Mason look like a good guy when he's done some terrible things within the context of the book that even like the book acknowledges. Like, looks like, yeah, he did bad things, but he had a good reason and he's not going to do it anymore, so it's fine.
Jude is definitely the foil of Calvin.
What do you mean by that?
Calvin basically says, I wish I had been a girl, they can get away with murder, whereas Jude basically gets away with murder and he's a guy. They kind of, they're mirror images of each other, but they're taking different paths, basically, is what the foil is. Because you've got Jude, who describes really, really, almost, it sounds kind of like child abuse to me, but a different kind, where it's both him and his sister, whereas it was just his sister with Calvin, who got scot-free from that. So you've got the rich family, because they're both rich. They're both abusive families. They both think that they know more than a girl.
Mm-hmm.
But they take different paths. One takes murder, the other one goes for revenge, and they kind of end up in the same way. They're mirror images of each other. And they're just kind of, you can see how one follows and one actually gets away with murder, even though he's not the girl.
Right, and the difference being that Jude is saved by virtue of being the love interest, and he can, his revengeance is focused on one dude, where Calvin just sprays his all over the place. So yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, and then Jude is, of course, a saint. So.
Right. Yeah, that's totally intentional. Yeah, so, yeah, in the end, as Soul says, Jude kidnaps a girl, totally gets away with it, and has his happily ever after, which is just a great thing to impart on impressionable young minds.
Yeah. Let guys treat you like crap and you'll be happy.
Right. Let guys treat you like crap, and if they aren't murderers, then it's fine. uh, so there's page 388. Again, the dialogue on this, I had to bookmark it because it's so terrible. Um,
What isn't terrible in this book?
well, I mean, but it gets like exceptionally cheesy. Um, It's like super like they did that distracting thing like I was talking about in the last part where it was really distracting how they had banter because they were still ostensibly in like that kidnapper kidnappee dynamic, but they were trying to make it like cute, sexy banter. Like they go back to doing that again, and I guess, it's ostensibly less creepy because they are not still kidnapper and kidnappee, but it's still obnoxious. I threw darts at a map, and wouldn't you know it, Van Damme was feeling lucky. And then she's like, I love this part. He reached across the table and laced his fingers in mine. You have beautiful hands. I never got to see them before. You were always wearing gloves. Smooth. This is the guy.
Always wearing gloves, even when she was inside cooking meals in the cabin.
I know. It's not even like the accuracy of that gets to me. It's just like it's just such a dumb thing to say. Oh, your hands are so pretty. I never got to see them because you were wearing gloves. Like maybe he secretly has like a hand fetish, and that's why it came up.
Well, I mean, there's foot fetishes, so it's possible.
Right? That's what I'm taking from this. He's secretly a hand fetish person, and he spent long months wishing that he could remember what her hands looked like outside of gloves. I threw away most of my things too. I kept my hat though. You wore it, and I wanted one thing to remember you by. I'm a sentimental sap, I know. No, you're a creeper. And then she's like, no, it's sweet that you kept the hat that I wore, that, you know, you had. It's totally not creepy. For a year. For a year. So gross.
That he kept staying at the cabin waiting for her for over a year.
Yep. He waited on the beach for her, even though he gave her his phone number. So, I mean, I feel like she would have called, which she did. She called him and told him when she was coming, but no. Maybe she'll just show up on the beach. That's how romance works. Don't you know it? Soulmates have a psychic connection. Maybe in this world, like, all kidnappers and kidnappees eventually form a psychic bond, and he was just relying on that. So yeah, yeah, you have such lovely hands. I must have them. Wouldn't that be a great twist if he was actually a serial killer and, Calvin just also happened to be a serial killer and he was just mad because he was going to kill his sister and Calvin beat him to it, so that's why he was actually after revenge.
Well, it would make a better book.
Right? Literally anything would have been more interesting than what actually happened. Like, I'm still stuck on the fact that we figured this out in the first 100 pages, and there was no twist. It's just like, yep, that's what it is. Enjoy. So,
But how
no,
much of the non-surprise is because we know exactly how to read for red herrings, and because we know exactly how to set up the twists, since we do both right, or you used to at least.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, and I guess we can toss this to you guys, like if you read the book or when you were reading it before we started theorizing, like, did you guys figure it out? Did you guys think Calvin is gonna be the bad guy? Because I feel like it's not like I've read books before that are mysteries and that I didn't figure out. And I just feel like there's a certain level of skill that you can have where you can write a book like this and your readers don't figure it out in the first 100 pages. Like, even with
Yeah,
meta
definitely.
knowledge.
There's some writers out there who every single time I can't figure out the story until the very end. But
Right.
I think for the average writer, if you're a writer who studies writing, a lot of the average writers, you'll be able to pick up on what's going on simply because you know the tricks, whereas you don't have that sophisticated trick that the more talented, above average writers have.
Right. And
Um,
I
and
just,
Shady right now, I would say, is below average.
yeah,
So,
I just feel like if you're going to write a thriller like this that kind of leans on a twist, and it's very hard to tell because we figured it out so soon. I can't tell if we were supposed to, because they make it really obvious, especially once you get around to the map. Like the map basically confirms that Calvin is the killer, and that
mhm.
happens very quickly. Um, so I don't know how much of this we were meant to know, but I just feel like if that's the case, if we were supposed to know or whatever, it's just really boring reading this book and knowing that this was how it was going to end. Like we spent last discussion trying to make up all kinds of fantastical ways that it could end because we were convinced that it couldn't just be this, and it was, and that's terrible.
I still prefer our ending better.
I do also, but I prefer our versions of most things, so um Yeah. So Soul mentioned that he figured it out, or I think, yeah, or he. And if I am incorrect, I apologize. Um, yeah, with the constant mentions and the flashbacks and it was kind of an obvious red herring situation. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's not just a shitty Stockholm romance; it's also a shitty thriller. A shitty, boring thriller. So congratulations on failing on like all counts. Ugh.
All right, well, we're done with the book. Do we know what our next project is?
Well, I mean, we were kind of discussing that a little bit this afternoon because you have to go back to school in how many weeks, Robin?
I
One, two,
leave
three, 4 weeks.
May 9th, so about 4 weeks,
So we have exactly 4 weeks.
which
And
would be enough time for a book if we did it in longer passages than this time around,
this is true. We would have to, um,
or a shorter book.
right. So we would have to either decide, or we would have to break it up into bigger chunks. Um, Alternately, we can do a movie or a couple of movies, since I mean there have been plenty. Um, or we can maybe see if we can find a guest contributor and have a discussion with them. So, I mean, there are a few options. I guess we'll just have to decide on one, huh?
Fairly quickly.
Yes, fairly quickly. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have anything you would like us to do or talk about or read, how long are you going to be at school, Robin?
Well, my school ends May 31st. I'll be back in town June 6th.
June 6th.
May 9th through June 6th.
Damn, you're going to be gone a whole month.
Yeah, I'm going to visit family for the first 2 weeks, and look for a job down there.
Hmm.
And then I'm also going to be in school for the other 2 weeks.
So, are you going to be incommunicado for that entire period?
Not incommunicado. It's just going to be harder for me to get online and stuff like that.
Okay, so we might have like a month-long break there. Um, so yeah, I mean, we'll figure out something. We'll figure out something to do before you leave, even if it's something small. So yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed myself theoretically, sorta.
We should
I
have gone with pantomime.
I know we should have read a good book, but you've read pantomime, so we can't even do that. Way to tank our options, Robin.
I did read pantomime, yes.
Did
It
you
was a
like
very
it?
good book. I got the sequel as soon as I got done reading it.
Well, there you go. You at least you got to read a good book. I did not. I just read this. I read a lot of comics though, and comics were mostly
Yeah.
good. So
And
no,
then Throne of Glass wasn't too bad. She does fall in love, but she is very standoffish, like a guy character would be.
hmm.
So it's not that she's going, oh, he's so cute now that she's fallen in love. It's more like, if I get near him, I'm going to kill him because I'm such a tough person. So she's kind of taking on the guy role in the romance instead of the girl role, even though she's the girl. So
Oh, skeptical sound. I don't know.
I don't know. You could try reading it and see what you think. But
I'm
yeah.
not a super big on fantasy person. Like, if I don't have to read fantasy, I probably won't.
And
It's
yet
just,
you're killing us.
it's that's different. I will read like urban fantasy and stuff, but like fantasy, like sword and sorcery, orcs, goblins, elves, shit, medieval. I'm not into that whole lot. So yeah, I don't know.
There's monsters and stuff like that that I didn't even think that there would be in this book. But yeah, she gets attacked by a couple of monsters, and there's magic and sorcery, and yeah,
Yeah.
she just happens to be an assassin in the town.
Excuse me. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that was fun. And at least we got to read good books while we read the bad one. I hope you guys had fun with us as well. You can let us know if you had fun or if you think we should never do this again. I mean, we may or may not listen, but you
Also,
always
let
have
us know
the
what you
option
want
to
us
tell
to do
us.
next.
Yes, let us know what you think we should work on next. Thanks to Soul for hanging out with us and giving your comments. We appreciate your interaction. It was fun. I enjoyed talking to you guys about it. It's the best part of reading bad books is ranting about them, right? So yeah, are we good to wrap up, Robin?
I'm good to go.
All right. And you keep thinking on that, Soul. We will take it into consideration. Well, it was nice chatting with you. Yeah. Yeah. The end. Bum bum.
Yeah. Bye.